This is Will Robertson with the Toronto Blue Jays, and you're listening to The Walk-Off with Scott Belford and Adam Mack.
All right. Very excited to be joined right now by a member of the Toronto Blue Jays organization, Will Robertson. Welcome to The Walk-Off, man. Thanks so much for joining us.
No, thanks for having me on. It's going to be exciting. Good to be here.
Oh, this is great. Look at how well lit your room is, bud. When we talked to Groshans, he was in a friggin' cave.
Yeah. No, I think I'm actually down in my parents' basement right now. So it's a little dark, but it's kind of, it's snowing outside. So I think everybody's kind of in that winter state of just darkness right now. But hopefully springtime comes, and obviously catchers and pitchers report today. So hopefully
I know it's right around the corner, eh, bud?
Yeah, I know. It's
So
exciting.
where are you right now? You're in Missouri?
Yep, in Missouri. We actually just got about 6 inches of snow. It's snowing right now, and it's like, I think, -1 degrees outside. So it's actually playing a little bit more like Toronto right now. But
yeah, that's right. That's Canadian weather. That's right, buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
I know they split the camps up this year to kind of limit the bodies. How does that affect you? So are you reporting like in a week or so, or when are you getting down there?
No, they didn't really tell us much with the minor league side. I know obviously the major league camp starts today, but for us, we haven't heard anything other than maybe, April or beginning of April. But I did hear a couple of things of maybe going down, in the next couple of weeks for games and stuff like that. But we'll see. But just excited to, it's nice to have kind of a light at the end of the tunnel, just with the whole pandemic.
Uncertainty of this last year has to be driving you nuts, eh?
Yeah. No, but at least, the big leaguers are getting down there, and we can, as a minor leaguer, you can kind of see the end in sight, which is definitely exciting.
I was just going to say, it's got to be exciting for you to be looking forward and seeing regular season baseball as a thing that can happen.
Yeah. Regular season baseball with fans and 162 games and us finally maybe getting to play a couple games, which we didn't get to play last year, which is nuts. Kind of the first, summer of not playing baseball for me. And since I've been, 8 years old, which is nuts to say. So,
well, I was just going to say that you got your first year of pro ball under your belt in 2019 with the Vancouver Canadians.
Yeah,
you had to. Getting that first one out of the way has got to feel a bit like a monkey off the back, right? Like now you can just concentrate on baseball. You know the ins and outs. And then all of a sudden a pandemic hits. I'm curious, where were you when you found out minor league ball wasn't going to happen? And did the team kind of keep you apprised as to what was going on, or did you just find out when the rest of us found out that it was canceled?
Kind of. I mean, going from Vancouver, you're excited, to get to play baseball, at the professional level. And, you take your blows and your excitements of that, getting to, face, professional pitching for the first time. Then you go into your first off season and you're ramping everything up. You're excited for, to be in your first spring training with, all these guys, and you get down there. I was actually down there for about 2 weeks. And then before that, we actually went to the DR for a kind of a cultural exchange kind of thing. So I was, in the thick of it for, at least three weeks, and you're ready to see, guys that, played with all summer. And I remember we were just like on the field, and we came in from a morning session or something. And, some guys like, Duke just canceled, not going to the NCAA tournament. We're like the whole time for me, leagues were starting to cancel stuff. And I was like, there's no way, baseball is going to shut down. And even when they sent us home, I was like, it's going to be a month. It's no problem. And now, hell, look at us. We're, almost a year into it now and haven't even gone back yet. So, but it was good to go back in the fall though. This fall, I got to go to FDL and got to, play some games, which was a good feeling too.
Tell me a little bit about that for those of you listening out there that don't know what he's talking about with FDL. That's the fall developmental league, right? That they kind of threw together?
Yeah. So so Major League Baseball allowed, teams to bring down, I don't know how many, each team we brought down about 50 guys, and we got to play a few games against other organizations. We played the Tigers and the Phillies predominantly, and then played some inter squad games. But we were down there for 6 weeks, kind of just getting some players, some games, which was awesome for me because, obviously not getting to play all summer and get to see some live pitching, which it took a lot there at the beginning to just get used to it. But, getting to swing the bat and get in the box, especially getting to play. We played most of our home games, obviously at the TD Park there and down there in Dunedin, which was awesome. So,
beautiful park. Yeah. Was that your first time there?
I actually got into a game last spring training, just kind of plug and chug there for the major league team, which that was pretty cool. But my first, experience being out there, for, extended period of time, which was cool. It's a great atmosphere, and it's beautiful. I can't wait to, get down there and maybe get in a couple more games this spring. So.
Yeah, that's very cool. I was actually down in Dunedin for the 2020 first spring training before everything shut down, right?
Yeah.
And what an experience. It was my first time at the Dunedin ballpark and just like experiencing spring training. And it was so fun. It was just like, I was so glad I got to experience that. And then like 3 weeks later, it's like, and the world's done. So
everything gets shut down. But no, the atmosphere, I mean, when I got to play, I mean, it was one game, but the atmosphere there, you can tell, is just awesome. And can't wait to be back there for sure.
So let's rewind before the apocalypse. You're a Missouri boy. You were playing ball for Creighton University in Nebraska in 2019, and then you get taken 4th round by the Blue Jays. Were you expecting Toronto to take you? Did you have any background on the Blue Jays system? How many people were talking to you? How did your draft experience play out?
Yeah, no, in college, I went to Creighton, and actually didn't really have a lot of interest out of high school at all professionally. So the whole draft, process and kind of how that goes was kind of, new to me all junior year, which was unique just because, you'd never done it before. So I think, kind of came on the scene, I guess, was my, sophomore summer, played in the Cape a little bit, got that experience, which was probably one of the best baseball experiences I've ever had, getting to play in the Cape League.
Why was that?
I think just for me, it was just the simplicity of the baseball part of it. You go to these huge stadiums, Creighton played at TD Ameritrade Park, home of the College World Series, but you go to these parks that don't have stands. Lowell Field, I played for Katuitt, didn't have lights. So, all the games had to be started like at 4:30. And I think it just, takes it back to the raw baseball kind of feel to it. And it was awesome. And you get to play against so many good guys. Like actually, getting to face Alec Manoah early on.
Cool.
And so that was fun. And, you end up, playing with some guys that you might be playing against in the future, or guys that you could be playing with, which in Alex, stance was with me. But it was that's probably why, just because of the simplicity and the rawness of the baseball experience for sure. But then going I guess into the draft process, I had interest from a lot of different teams, but the Blue Jays were obviously one of them, and I had no idea. We just came off of a regional berth, and we were on the plane back from Eugene, from Oregon State, Corvallis. We're on the plane actually. And I was talking to my dad, and I was like, okay, the draft, starts at noon Eastern, or noon Central Time, 1 Eastern. And I was like, okay, we're leaving at 10. The plane ride should be 2.5 hours. I should only miss like half an hour of the draft. And it kind of hit me that I was like, crap, that's Western time. And it started right at 10. So for the first 2.5, right as the plane took off is right when it started. And I had no idea. So I was sitting there, and definitely nerves were going on, and we landed, and that's kind of when my phone kind of blew up and was found out I was a Blue Jay, which was awesome. Kind of a monkey off my back, like you said before, with just, getting the first season underway. That was, felt like the world was off your shoulders when, cause you're sitting there the whole 2.5 hour flight, not knowing where the hell you're going to go.
Oh my God. That had to have been torture, dude.
Oh my gosh. I was sitting in my own seat, and I think so, cause I played with a couple guys that were supposed to be picked the second day too. And so you could tell, us three, our demeanors on the plane were a little different than everybody else, kind of, playing cards, and kind of the second half second half of the flight, we definitely loosened up, played some cards, and kind of, it's kind of out of our control now, but it was definitely,
you're taking it off airplane mode a little early. You're like, come on.
Like you're trying to see and trying to, cause you have no idea, you've worked, your whole life for this moment, and you're not even going to get to see it. But it was good. It was definitely a flight that I'll never forget. And it was an experience when we landed for sure.
You land down, you find out you're a Toronto Blue Jay.
Yeah.
Did they send you right to Vancouver, like almost right away?
So I had, I asked them to take a week off because I had to move all my stuff out of my apartment. I had to, get home. I had to, pack all my stuff up from there. So I asked for 5 days in between our
So
college season.
unreasonable. 5 days to move your shit.
Well, you're so excited too, and then I actually flew down to Florida, got to go to the complex and stuff like that, and I was excited and got to fly out to Vancouver and actually made opening day up there, which it was a crazy 7 days, that's for sure, because flew out to Florida down in Dunedin, and then about 3 days later flew to Vancouver, and then 2 days later you're playing in your first pro game. So it was a fun experience, but definitely hectic, but I wouldn't change it for the world.
So I'll be honest, Will, I'm a little bit of a ignorant Canadian. I don't know a lot about Missouri. I
That's
know
fine.
St. Louis is there. And if
Yeah.
I had to point it out on a map, I'd be worried I'd humiliate myself not getting close enough to like it be legit.
Well, a lot of my teammates don't even know where Missouri is either. So yeah, you're okay with that.
You're letting me off the hook. All right. Well, I'm curious how much you knew about Vancouver going in, how much you knew about Canada, and did you have some moments where you kind of noticed like cultural differences that kind of stood out?
I've never been to Canada at all before. Obviously playing in Vancouver. I knew Vancouver and was in the Pacific Northwest. Other than that, not a lot about, Canada. And I just knew the stereotype of everybody's, extremely nice and very personable, but went up there, and my host family was awesome up there. And they had, 2 little kids, which one of them was a little boy, and got to, I guess, I don't want to say, I just, interact with him, which was awesome.
You got to connect with him, eh?
Yes, it was, because you're there for 3.5 months. And so you kind of, develop, kind of an older brother kind of feel with it, which was awesome. And I still keep in touch with him today. And then you go play at Nat Bailey Stadium. You got 7,000 screaming fans screaming at you the whole game, win or lose. That was the best part. If we were down 13-1 or something, and somebody hit a base hit or a double or something, they were jumping up and down. And I think maybe the whatever the nooners out, or the not the high noons. What's the box out there? The Twisted Tea kind of box out there. I think those kind of helped them, but it was it was a great atmosphere to play in. By far the best atmosphere I've ever played in baseball wise, and just awesome people out there too.
That's very cool. I know that's one thing Joey Murray mentioned to us when he talked to us, was he was talking about how the fans just knew you played for the Canadians. He's like, it was really weird to walk around town. He's like, I'm about as ambiguous as it comes. He's like, I'm just a short-haired white guy, and everyone's like, that's a Canadians player.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, walking around, you'd go to certain places, and I don't know. I don't like to think that I have like an accent at all, but they definitely knew that you weren't from Vancouver at all. But it was they were super nice. They were so nice, and what I appreciated too, we got an off day and went to Whistler, and just how beautiful the scenery and stuff was, which was awesome.
Whistler's pretty incredible.
Yeah, so I want to go back there in the wintertime and check out the slopes, but maybe that'd have to be after the playing career's over. I don't know if they'd like me skiing down some
yeah, right. How'd you blow your knee out, Will?
Exactly.
Don't worry about it.
I was squatting, doing some lunges. No, it was, but yeah, definitely have to go back.
So I'm a comedian. It's how I make my living, is I'm a touring stand-up comic. And one of the things that I enjoy the most about my job is getting to see different places and kind of meeting different people. Yeah. And I know that there's a lot of similarities with that with baseball. Yeah. Did you ever hit a moment where the game took you somewhere where you were just like, this is so cool, like I can't believe I'm playing baseball here?
Yeah, no, I think everywhere you can. Well, I come from a very small town, like 300 people. So anywhere that it takes me, it's kind of a different, look at it. Going to Omaha, I think it's 1 million people, but that was a shock for me. Then you go play in Cape Cod, out in Massachusetts, and that's a shock. And then you go to Vancouver, which different country, but just the everything about it, is a little different. So every place that I play, it's kind of, wow, this is, new. And then getting to play, at Creighton, in the Big East, getting to see New York, getting to see Georgetown, in Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, and all these historical cities. And I think that's one of the better parts of getting to play professional, is just to get to see, all the different things. And I'm kind of a history buff. So I liked, in college, getting to go see all the monuments and stuff and going to get to see New York City and stuff. But yeah, it was awesome.
That's very cool. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like building towards something,
Yeah.
like being a pro ball player, and on top of it, getting those perks of getting to see the world. It's very, very cool. Absolutely.
Yeah. And meeting a lot of different people along the way too, which is outstanding. Different host families and stuff, like I said before.
Yeah, that is very cool. I love that you keep in touch with the family you were in Vancouver too. Do you know a definitive plan for this year? Are they sending you back to Vancouver? Is it still up in the air?
If I had a dollar for every time, somebody would come up to me and say, "Hey, so what are you doing? When are you leaving?" I might have enough to invest some major money into GameStop or something, but but I honestly don't know. I know with the whole border thing, I don't know how it is with Canada if they're going to let us back in, but I know right now the Blue Jays, I guess, are going to play in Buffalo. But no, I'm kind of intrigued. That's why I really don't know what the plan is. I'm just looking forward to get down to spring training and to get to play down there, and hopefully they have some answers for us. But I would love to go back and play in Vancouver. It was a great experience for sure, and I would love to spend not 3 months this time, maybe 5 and 6 months. That'd be even better.
Especially now that it kind of got bumped up to that high A affiliate. That's great.
Yeah. I think that's good for Vancouver too. I mean, obviously the fans are awesome, but I think for the Canadians as an organization, that's going to be huge for them too.
You're naturally left-handed, correct?
Kind of. I actually grew up when I was little. I threw both left-handed and right-handed, which I always joke around with my dad saying that he should have made me throw right-handed, give me some more options, playing maybe middle infield. That's being a left-handed guy. I don't know if I speak for all left-handed throwers, but you always want to, play shortstop, second or third, or catch. You always kind of want to do the things that, you can't really do being left-handed. So, but no, I hit left-handed. I actually do all sports left-handed, so I kick and stuff like that. But then I write everything else right-handed, which I'm kind of weird.
Oh,
so
interesting. That is a little weird.
I brush my teeth, eat, write, everything like that right-handed. So it makes me wonder. I was like, I probably should have been right-handed, and so I always give my dad a little crap for it.
Well, I bring it up because baseball is obsessed with lefties. You know that meme where the dude is being busted checking out the other girl or whatever, and the one girl is just like, the dude is baseball, and the girl he's checking out is the heavy left-handed power hitter, right?
From a left-handed swing perspective, yes. Everybody loves the left. I still don't think there's a better, swing in baseball than a left-handed swing. But when it comes to pitching, obviously everybody drools over the left-handed arm, can throw hard. But when you can't throw the baseball like in the direct vicinity of the catcher or have any off-speed stuff like I did, you quickly just want to just throw left-handed or throw right-handed and just hit. So the whole pitching thing definitely was not for me. So the whole left-handed thrower wasn't really necessary. So
well, is there a moment that you were playing baseball, maybe when you were younger, 13 or 14, when it kind of hit you what a big deal being a lefty is? Like that you're just hitting the way you would normally hit, and everyone's like giving your stats, and then also has to be like, and he's a lefty, right? Like,
it was, playing baseball ever since I've been, 5 years old, and as a kid, you always go to the team, and the dad that's, putting balls in the tee is sitting in the left-handed batter's box, and all the kids are, hitting right-handed, and you have to tap him on the shoulder and say, I'm left-handed. And he's like, okay, you're the only one, and switches over. That's kind of when you first realize that there's not too many of them like you out there. But when you start moving up, playing travel ball and stuff like that, you definitely become aware that it's, kind of a hot commodity. But I think, I think when you're small like that, I don't think you really realize it. You kind of almost think that you're a little weird and stand out, which I don't mind being a little weird. So
for those listening right now who don't know the ins and outs of throwing left-handed, explain why baseball tends to be like, you just touched on it, right? That they're not going to put you at shortstop. They're not going to put you, why is that?
Just for just the ability to be able to make a quick throw, I guess, across the diamond, and from a catcher's perspective, throwing guys out at third base is huge. And not necessarily in today's game, the stealing and the speed of the game, sometimes doesn't always, or it used to, kind of go in that direction, but not anymore with, runners stealing a lot of bases. But I think from a catcher's perspective, getting to pick off that guy that's stealing second to third, and obviously shortstop making a play on the run, barehanding it and throw it to first base is a little easier for a right-handed player. But even though I think that I'm athletic enough to make that play sometimes, but they don't want you over there though.
So they do push if you're a lefty thrower. If you throw left and you're not a pitcher, they're pushing you into the outfield, correct?
Outfield, first base, yeah. Which kind of, definitely kind of puts puts you into a demographic that's smaller than, if you're right-handed. If you're right-handed, you could play all 9 positions if you wanted to. If you're left-handed, you can, only play 4 or 5 positions. You can play, pitch, play first, and then the 3 outfield positions. So it definitely puts you kind of in a boat already when you're just left-handed, which
and it's because you're throwing against momentum kind of thing, right? Like if you're a shortstop or whatever, you're just going
you have to change,
you're losing
your
a
body,
second or whatever it is.
You have to change your body. You have to, changing your feet, and the higher, and obviously when you're small, you can get away, or when you're younger, you can get away with those things. But, as guys get faster, as the bases get longer, you kind of have to put your best guys that can make those plays over there, which I totally understand.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So for you as a lefty, in your experience, do you prefer to hit righties?
I do prefer to hit righties, just because I used to really hate lefties because, that left-handed breaking ball, especially not seeing it a lot, kind of growing up. And then all of a sudden it's kind of popped out at you at, high school level and college level. And I mean, they start that thing, at your back hip, and you think you're going to get hit with it, and it breaks over the strike zone. You're kind of looking around like, this is totally unfair. How do they get to manipulate the baseball like this? But you kind of learn how to take it and kind of learn how to hit those pitches, but still, a lefty that, can pitch inside and throw that hammer curveball. It's hard to beat in the game. So I would definitely prefer to hit right-handed pitchers. But if they can locate and throw a good changeup, they're hard to beat too. So that's what makes the game so hard, but so fun at the same time. So.
How much time do you put in thinking about that sort of thing? Like, let's say you're on deck, right? There's a righty at the plate. They go to the bullpen and they're bringing in a lefty.
Yeah.
Are you like, dang it? or do you not let yourself get that drawn in, right? Like, I know the answer you're supposed to give here, but I'm just curious.
The cliche answer is like, no, it doesn't matter who you see, you're gonna do some damage off them. But yeah, I mean, I would be lying if you say like, okay, lefty, you kind of, but I think that goes to approach, and you kind of have your approach, set for a right-handed pitcher for that at bat. And when they switch it like that, that kind of puts at least me into a state of, okay, I got to recreate my game plan within the next, 3 minutes. And that's kind of how you have to go, I guess, along with what you've been doing since college, and kind of using, the ability to make adjustments on the fly. And then obviously the more games you play and more pitchers you hit against that are left-handed, you kind of learn to adapt. And I actually kind of prefer sometimes hitting against lefties and righties now, just because it makes me concentrate more. As a right-handed pitcher, you're like, okay, it's a right-handed pitcher. I've seen these guys a million times. Not necessarily do I get lackadaisical with my focus, but you can kind of go into, autopilot. But a lefty gets up there, as a left-handed hitter, you're like, okay, I got to really be conscientious about what they're going to do. And so sometimes if I'm in a slump or something and a lefty is pitching, sometimes that's better for me because, I really, focus in and really let the ball get deep and try to, do stuff that I wouldn't necessarily do with a right-handed pitcher, for sure.
That's interesting that it forces you to focus a little more. That's great.
Yeah. Just from, being little.
That's great on your mindset, that you've kind of taken that, what would be a disadvantage and kind of turned it into an advantage.
No, it's because growing up, it's always like, definitely when I was younger, you see a left-handed pitcher and you're like, oh crap, like this isn't going to be good. So you're generated from being, younger to, because when a lefty gets on the mound, focus up, like, so definitely kind of ingrained in you from a small age that, when a lefty gets on the mound, okay, we gotta just from experience and having failures, okay, like I know these guys don't treat you very well. So you better focus up and, or else you're going to get owned this at bat. So, no, for sure. Definitely a heightened awareness when a lefty gets on the mound than when a righty's on there.
So lefty or righty, does your
Mhm.
approach in the batter's box change when you're down 2 strikes?
For sure. I think, as you know, when you get into the batter's box, I think you have a plan of doing damage, and I think you should always have a plan of doing damage, the whole at bat. But I think when you have 2 strikes, the pitcher deserves to have the upper hand. I mean, they got 2 strikes on you for a reason, so I think you kind of have to not give in, but you have to respect that. Okay, they got their 2 strikes, and you kind of have to give a little bit to either move the ball or do something for your team. So I think with 2 strikes, you definitely, it's hard to say, give in, but you have to tip your cap a little bit to them for getting 2 strikes on you. And you have to change your approach, or else you're going to, strike out or whatever. And I know a lot of times now in today's game, strikeout is, just another out or stuff like that. But I mean, it's kind of, compete aspect. And, even if you move the ball or put it in play, I'm with 2 strikes, I think that's better than a strikeout.
So I'm going to ask you another question here
Yeah.
where I know what the answer should be.
Yeah.
I know the answer to this question I'm going to ask is no, Scott. Of course, I don't worry too much about it, and I'm just focused on getting better. But do you ever cheat a little bit? Like, do you ever wind up like taking a look at this Toronto Blue Jays organization and seeing that their outfield depth maybe is lacking a little bit, and kind of think, maybe there is a way for me to move up the ranks pretty quick here? Or do you just kind of put the blinders on and try not to worry about that?
No, I think how much social media is out there nowadays. I think it's hard to, have blinders on and not see everything, especially, following, all these guys and following, professional baseball and the Blue Jays and stuff like that. It's hard to not see, prospect lists or, rankings and stuff like that, which you definitely see them. But you can control the controllables. Yeah. You look at all the lists and, see that, the outfield, prospects, it's not ever since, trading Griffin and stuff like that. It's kind of, open right now. But, it could change tomorrow. They could draft or trade for, 3 prospects and stuff like that. So you have to always just keep, like you said, the cliche answer is, keep working hard. But that's truly, control what you can control. And if you, no matter if there's, 4 guys in front of you or 3 guys in front of you, if you, work hard and perform, that's all you can ask for.
So you're a guy, and you touched on this earlier in the interview, okay?
Yep.
That out of high school, scouts weren't necessarily banging down your door. So you took the college route, right?
Yep.
Playing for Creighton University, and then you pretty much lit it up, right? You made it happen. You get drafted in the 4th round in 2000. You're like, we don't need to say lit it up, but you did well enough. You got drafted in the 4th round. You played your first year of professional baseball. What was your mindset when you realized out of high school that maybe you weren't quite where you wanted to be? And for your experience, when you were playing college ball, was there a step or a moment where you were like, you know what? I do have it. Maybe I can make a run at this.
Yeah, no, I think in high school, or looking back to high school, it's always been, is that if that's from playing JV to varsity or stuff like that, it always, for me, I never like getting to the game and stuff like that. And I never think, because looking at it, you're like, am I supposed to be here? Am I good enough to be playing at this position? And that's happened for me every single step of the way, playing, varsity baseball. You get up there and the game's so fast, and you're like, oh, like, am I going to be able to succeed at this level? And then kind of, a couple of games later, you're like, okay, it's just like playing whatever, in the backyard playing wiffle ball. And then the same goes with when you played, college, the first practice in the fall of freshman year, you're like, this is so fast. Like, am I going to be able to handle this? And then by the first week, you're like, yeah, I think I can, step up and be a contributor. And I think that was the same way with pro ball. It took a couple games, and I think I was hitting like a buck, or not even a buck. I think I was like hitting 0.74. I think my first 2 weeks up in Vancouver, and just trying to, keep my head above water. And finally, kind of hit me that, I belong and settle down a little bit. But in college, I think freshman year was definitely a learning curve for me, just kind of being on my own, kind of being my own coach per se, because there's so many, hitters and so many guys in the college level that, the coaches are always trying to focus on. So I think my sophomore year is kind of when I felt like I could make the biggest jump, and kind of that's kind of when I realized that, I can, make something out of this baseball thing, I think. So
you kind of have had many moments
yeah,
throughout your career
sure.
where you're like, I'm overwhelmed, and then kind
Yep.
of centered yourself and realized you could do it.
Yeah, no, I think that just comes with, I think, just having experiences that, kind of ground you. And, I think every stop that I've been at, I've had times that I'm like, this is like, I'm not rock bottom, but, I'm like, dang, like this is definitely a humbling experience. And then just kind of, taking a step back and just kind of trusting that, you've put in the work and the process, and then that then translates to, confidence on the field and letting it go. And once you have the confidence on the field and you kind of trust in the ability that you've kind of built up, then it kind of lets it play free. And that's for me was the second half of Vancouver, just kind of, letting it go and had fun. And the success on the field definitely showed that the second part of the year. I wish we could have played another month or two and could have raced what I did the first month. But yeah, it's definitely happened every step of the way that you get hit, and then you kind of, okay, and then you push forward kind of thing. So
do you think that maybe not being overly sought after
yeah.
out of high school mentally prepared you for this throughout as you continued to take step forwards?
Yeah, no, I like not being a huge prospect professionally early on in my high school career. I think it caused me to, just work hard and, trust. It definitely made me trust the process a lot more than, if I would have went to a big D1 school, going to Creighton, playing in, 20-degree weather, for the first 2 months out of the year, grinding it out and not getting any practice, before the season even starts. I think that definitely didn't put it necessarily a chip on my shoulder, but definitely made me realize, trusting the process, and it's not going to, necessarily get handed to you, and just, put your nose to the grindstone and control what you can control, which are all, cliche answers, but I mean, that's kind of what you have to do. So.
Oh my God. If you don't have the mentality, if you can only control what you can control over this last year, you would be in the nut house. Like,
oh my gosh,
the uncertainty of this last year has been, I can imagine, it's one of the biggest challenges for all players, maybe that of their whole career.
It's been a roller coaster, because I think for me, I've always been a very, self-motivating person. I think, it doesn't take much for me to, motivate myself to go do something, but you get back from spring training and you're sitting there, you're like, okay, it's only gonna be a month. And so that's motivation by itself, gonna go back in a month, you gotta, keep yourself in shape. And then, July rolls around and you're like, we're never gonna play again. So it's easy to tell yourself, oh, you can only hit 4 times this week, or you don't need to, do this workout. You'll be fine. You don't have to do. And so then that starts creeping in your mind. And then you got to figure out ways to, get that out of there and keep grinding, which that was for me one of the hardest things is, keeping that something up there that you're chasing, even when you don't know what it necessarily is, I think. And that's from what I've heard from a lot of, buddies and a lot of other professional players, that's kind of what they've gone through too, which was nice to kind of hear that, I wasn't the only one. But that was for sure the biggest for me going through the whole this.
I relate to that 100%, because the motivation of, even for me, of doing stuff like continuing to write jokes and stuff like that when there isn't even a stage to go perform on, or I can't even travel or tour, right? So I so get it. The idea of like trying to maintain some focus when it would be so easy to just be like,
that's everybody. Everybody went through this, and so it's definitely relatable through all, occupations and stuff like that. But
yeah, for sure, man. How are you on time? I've got some listener questions here. Are you cool?
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Stick around for a few more minutes. Yeah.
Yep, we're good. Yeah, we're good.
All right. So, this one here is from Jenna in Regina, Saskatchewan. So I don't know if you know where Saskatchewan is, but 2 provinces over from BC.
Gotcha. It's right in the middle. Yeah.
That's right. Right in the middle, just over Montana. Yeah.
Okay.
So she asks, "Hi, Will. We're excited you're on the show. I've been seeing your name on the Blue Jays top prospects list lately. Do you follow that stuff? And did you know you're on the list?" So we kind of touched on that already, but go ahead.
No, yeah, no, I definitely pay attention. Follow, Blue Jays and MLB Pipeline and stuff like that on Twitter. So you see it. But like I said before, you kind of see it and kind of acknowledge it and realize that anything can change at any time, and you just gotta keep working for that opportunity. So,
is there a little bit of validation to seeing your name on a list like that, though?
I think, all the hard work that you put into it, definitely, it definitely validates some stuff, but then it also, makes you hungrier to, keep climbing up the ladder. I think it's both aspects of it. I think, okay, you see yourself on a list. I don't even know where I'm necessarily at, but, then the next thing, kicks in. I want to, keep working your way up, or I want to, keep, climbing up the ladder a little bit. So I think it's a little bit of both to kind of even it out. So.
And it's funny because you touched on this one a little earlier too, but this is from George in Spruce Grove, Alberta. "Good morning, Will. Have you ever pitched? I know outfielders normally have good arms. Blue Jays need pitching. Maybe you can fill in."
Like I touched on earlier, in high school, actually in freshman year of high school, I thought that I was going to be a pitcher. I didn't think I was going to hit it all. Being the left-hander, like we talked about earlier, the coveted left-handed pitcher. I did throw pretty hard in high school, but I could not find it. I would always miss, arm side up and away. And then I couldn't use any of my off-speed pitches. So I would just throw center cut fastballs. And the more that I would pitch, higher levels, you can't get guys out by throwing an 89 mile an hour fastball right down the middle. So I gave that up pretty quickly, but
yeah,
you know what?
Hitters would become a pretty big fan of you doing that.
Exactly. And so, and I assume, talking to position players like me, like I always want to get back on the mound and see, obviously how hard you can throw, or I think the pitchers want to go hit and the position players want to pitch on the mound. So I think that's always funny when you get down to the season, and, pitchers and position players are always, asking the manager, "Hey, can I maybe steal on at bat, or can I maybe pitch an inning or something like that?" It's funny to see that bantering going back and forth. So,
yeah. That's great. All right, Matt, our last one here. Matt in Calgary asks, "If you had your choice, what's the biggest adrenaline rush? A diving catch in the outfield or hitting a bomb at the plate?"
I don't think you can, for me, the feeling of when you swing and just feel nothing, and it's not a swing and a miss, and because you actually made contact, and that's a pretty sweet feeling when you got it, and you can kind of take that extra time getting out of the batter's box and watching it fly a little bit. Yeah. I don't think there's a better feeling, though. Making a diving catch in Nat Bailey Stadium is pretty awesome because the fans just go crazy. I think that's a different. I think if you would say, making a diving catch in Nat Bailey Stadium or hitting a home run in, I don't know, Spokane or something like that, I think it might be the diving catch in Vancouver or in Nat Bailey Stadium, just because of the crowd. But the feeling of a home run off a wood bat, I think is something special. That it definitely is addicting. Once you do it once, you got to keep doing it.
I can't think of a more appealing sound than that crack of barrel to ball when you're just like, there's no doubt. You don't even see the ball leave the stadium, and you're like, oh, that's gone.
the college ping, I remember growing up was like, oh, that college ping is awesome. And then when you get to college, you're like, no, it's just annoying. Because you hear it every single day in the cages and the echo of it. You're like, gosh, this is too loud. And then you get that crack of the wood bat and pro ball. It's nothing better, especially in the springtime coming up, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. Yeah. When you're all in the cage, you got 7 cages of guys hitting, and it's just crack after crack. I think that's a sweet sound, especially coming from, like I said, right now it's snowing and it's, I think 5 degrees. I think it maybe bumped up a couple degrees, but from coming to doing that, or coming here to going down there and hearing the crack, there's not a better feeling.
Oh, every time I hear that crack, it reminds me of that quote from Moneyball, right? Where he's like, it's hard not to be romantic about baseball.
Exactly. It just screams warm weather and it just, screams baseball. Yeah.
It screams baseball. Will, thank you so much, my man, for taking the time to talk to us, buddy. This was great, honestly.